Kentucky is 4-0 and 1-0 in the SEC, but still there's some stuff to talk about. I'm Tyler Thompson. This is Adam Luckett. Stephen Peak is behind the camera, and we're here to rapidly react to the 48-25 victory. Yeah, that's right.
45-28.
45-28 victory over the Vanderbilt Commodores. So, Adam, it feels like through the first 3 games of the season, we didn't really know what this Kentucky football team was like. Do we know after Game 4?
The details don't matter, but they kind of do in the 45-28 win. I think there was a lot of good today. I think you saw the offense get off to a fast start. I think the defense played well of a football game for really most of the entire game. I think outside of the end of the half, the end of the second quarter, they give up the touchdown. Into the fourth quarter, they get a garbage time touchdown. Is what it is, but there was a lot of the same issues, right? The offense can't get out of its way. Devin Leary throws 2 more interceptions. Protection broke down. The offensive line had some rough moments, but then you look up and you see, they scored 31 points in 10 possessions if you take out Nils. They created explosive plays in the pass game. They created explosive plays in the running game. Jaton McClain and Ray Davis ran for over 160 yards as a duo, over 6 yards per rush. So they did what you wanted them to do. It's just they're not a pretty football team. There's going to be bad moments in games, bad stretches by the offense, and we've seen that play out. But to me, the big takeaway was the defense. I mean, the defense I thought was pretty awesome today. They put A.J. Swan, who is still a raw quarterback, I would say, but he has really good potential, and they have a guy that might be an all-SEC receiver on the outside, and Will Shepard, and they totally shut them down. 3 interceptions, 3 pick-six, 2 by Maxwell Hairston. Well, 2 pick-sixes, 1 by De'Eric Jackson on the lateral to Andrew Phillips, sets up a 1st and goal. But overall, I think the defense, you saw what you wanted to see from them. Offensively, it's just the consistency is really what you're kind of looking for.
Yeah, if we had rapidly reacted to the first quarter, this would be all sunshine and rainbows. I mean, that's the first quarter. That's the start we've wanted Kentucky to get off to all season. But what happened?
Yeah, I mean, that's the $1 million question. That's how Liam Cohen makes a lot of money, is to figure out the solution there. You're just seeing them, they can't get out of their own way. Even the touchdown drive, I believe, in the fourth quarter, how many penalties were on that drive? There were numerous penalties. Holding calls negating a big run by Demi Sumo-Kongbe. Big completions negated by penalty. Drops. Dane Key had a drop. Jordan Dingle had a drop. I believe Barian Brown had 2 drops. You know, these super sophomores you're dependent on are making drops. But then they also go and make some great plays. That catch by Dane Key in that end zone over there was...
That was so good to see.
Yeah.
Like, what a relief.
That is the Dane Key we know.
Yeah.
That's the Dane Key last year we thought could be a star and still think can be a star, but we've got to see it more. Barian Brown hitting explosive plays, catches a big one right over here on the sideline. Drags his toe, makes a great catch. You saw Ray Davis have some explosive runs. But the consistency and the down-to-down efficiency is just lacking with this offense right now. And maybe it's just a thing where this is just what they're going to be. They're going to be they're a home run hitter that's going to maybe not have the greatest batting average, but at any point they can knock one out of the park, and we've seen that through 4 games now.
You were talking about Ray Davis, obviously coming into this game, his return to Nashville, his return to Vanderbilt was the storyline. How would he play against his former school? He was a little shaky at the start, but he finished with 2 touchdowns. I mean, I think that's pretty impressive. Afterwards, he was talking to reporters. He was saying he was just very happy to close this chapter of his career, to finally move past, the whole homecoming storyline. But, I mean, when we're talking about the rushing game, you also have to talk about the inconsistencies. And that was really frustrating Mark Stoops. You could hear him in the post-game press conference, both he and Liam Cohen, talking about why they just can't be consistent on the ground.
Yeah, and a lot of it is, today we saw a lot of 0 and negative yard runs. Overall, if you look at just the numbers from the running backs, they had a good game, but why are we seeing so many so many tackles for loss? And I think that's really the frustrating part. Today, they had a lot of tackles for loss. Ray Davis they throw a screen to him. He gets tackled for loss. That puts him way behind to start a drive. So that's something that they're having a hard time overcoming right now. And the thing about it is, though, Tyler, it's not like the one drive here or there. It's like 3 or 4 drives in a row. Why can't they just sprinkle them into the game? Why do we have to see them come right in a row? And that's really the frustrating part. But then we see the glimpses. We see Leary make great throws. We see them rip off some big runs. It's just finding that consistency, and that's really where they're struggling at. And then in special teams, I thought Wilson Berry didn't have a great day punting the football. That field position battle was killing them because of that for a little bit. And Vandy's punter, I mean, they might have an All-American.
He was really good.
Yeah, I mean, he was awesome. And, like, Tavian Robinson was having a heck of a time even trying to catch some of his punts. But for back to Davis, I think he was kind of you could tell he was forcing it a little bit, which is not surprising with all the emotions that were in this game. Going into halftime, he was they were exchanging some words between him and some of his former teammates. So that was obviously, I think, a tough situation for him. But I think overall he got through it, and I'm sure he's very, very happy to finally not be asked questions about Vanderbilt and what it will be like when he returns to Vanderbilt.
Yeah, definitely. And, Devin Leary, this was his first SEC game. He had an okay day. He was 15 of 29, 205 yards, a touchdown, and 2 interceptions. Afterwards, I think he was his own worst critic, talking about how he has to just be more consistent and he has to dial in. He had a couple throws today that were just misses, wide open misses. How would you evaluate his first SEC game?
I think it was an average game for Devin Leary. 15 to 20, that's not what you want to see. I mean, that 14 incompletions is not good. You throw a sack in there, half of the plays are 0 yards or a sack. That's not a good mixture in the throw game. I think drops were a big thing today. Like, we can't, one drive in the third quarter, they might get going if Dane Key or Jordan Dingle catches the ball. They drop the football. So I think they're struggling from that, but they do need him to be better. I mean, he took some big shots today. I think protection was a little leaky at times, and that's a worry. Going into this SEC gauntlet, something they got to get fixed. But we've seen the potential with Leary. It's just, again, it's the buzzword. The consistency with this offense is something they just have to nail down, because I think we all know, if they can find that down-to-down efficiency, they can be really scary because of how explosive they are.
Yeah, and quickly, talking about the offensive line, there were some changes today. Eli Cox moved into center. Yep. Jagger Burton went out to guard. Mark Stoops didn't say whether or not that was permanent after the game. He said that they're just going to see how it goes moving forward. Heading into SEC play, obviously you want the big blue wall to be as strong as it can be. We'll wrap up with a question that Devin Leary was asked, and he didn't really have a good answer for it. So is the fact that Kentucky, won by as many points as they did today, is 4-0, despite all these errors thus far, is that frustrating or is it comforting because the potential for more is there?
I think that's the million-dollar question. Are you glass half full or glass half empty? I think it comes down, I think, to kind of your personality type there. This is a long season. You want to get better. You don't want to get worse. Teams either get better or they get worse. I think this team is getting better, but we don't know. I mean, we're going to have to see them keep putting it together, but I think the potential is still there. And, hey, bottom line, they won. They were double-digit favorites in all 4 of these games. They won each by double digits. They're 3-1 against the spread. They're doing what they're expected to do. It's just clunky. And so how do you get the clunkiness out? Next week will be a huge test. You host Florida at home. You'll probably be a small favorite. So we'll see. Does that clunkiness cost them a game? Or can they play through it? Or can they eliminate it? And that is something we'll have to see moving forward.
Yeah, Mark Stoops doesn't want to apologize for a win. Liam Cohen isn't going to apologize for a win. And we're not either. And we're ready to get out of this stadium. It has been quite an experience here today at FirstBank Stadium. Sadly, they took the scoreboard down from the crane, so we can't show it to you. But it has been an experience here. The post-game press conferences were in the construction trailer, which has to be a first. We had to go through Memorial Gymnasium, the basketball arena, to get in here, and I guess we'll have to go out that way to get out of here.
Yeah, I think we might be getting in trouble because this is a hard hat zone. So we got to go, Big Blue Nation. We'll see you next week.
Go Cats.